Hello, all you wonderful people, friends, and family. This is Francesco, and we are starting a new podcast. Sort of. We did one about a year or two ago, and there's a video podcast which you could see and find here, I think. Check that out if you'd like. The audio is not good, but we interviewed a couple from Sailing Aloha. They were someone we were following for a while, and one of the many people who've inspired us to go sailing. So we wanted to learn what we could learn. It was one of our earliest learning experiences into the world of sailing and cruising. But this one here, this new podcast, is the start of what we're going to be sharing with everyone, the process of going forward and sailing Guadeloupe and hopefully Thailand. So check it out and give us a whirl, give us a like. Check us out at www.sailingpb.com. That's PB like Prima Barcavella. And you can find out more about us there and follow us there. Thanks. What? Aerial garden?
Mm-hmm.
For our sailboat?
Yeah, it's kind of a way to do hydroponic growing. I don't know that I can go months without lettuce.
Lettuce. All right. This is the beginning of our podcast about sailing and entertaining people. Entertain somebody.
Is this about our sabbatical?
SEAbbatical.
SEAbbatical.
S-E-A.
Yes.
Yes. So, what are we doing?
I quit my job.
Not yet, really, technically.
I mean, I put in notice.
You sort of quit your job. You put in notice that you'll be quitting your job.
That's correct.
Your last day will be December 15th.
Same day we get on the plane.
That is correct.
Where are we going?
Guadeloupe.
Yep.
A French island.
Tis.
Is it a French Antilles?
Is that what they're called? Lesser Antilles?
Oh, it's called Lesser Antilles?
Yes.
So we're going to Guadeloupe for 4 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks, the boys will be with us.
Mm-hmm.
In 2 weeks, we will be without boys.
Yes.
And then what do we do after that?
And then we come back to the States and
for 24 hours?
Yes, not even. And then we jump on a plane for Thailand for 6 weeks, where we hope to explore by land, air, sea, rail, scooter, foot, all the things.
Rickshaw?
I hope. Tuk-tuk.
Long-tailed boat?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. It should be quite the adventure.
Sure will be. So, what do you want to talk about in our podcast?
I feel like we should talk about the origins of this trip.
How did this start?
It started with a 2-week vacation in Thailand.
Did it? I don't remember that.
It did. Yeah, we had planned.
Oh, we said we're going.
We're going
We're
no matter
going
what.
to Thailand no matter what.
And we booked flights.
Yeah, we did.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, then it expanded.
It did.
How did that happen? I don't even remember.
I'm going to guarantee it was you. Probably one of your, no, we're taking a sabbatical. I heard I can take a sabbatical from work, so I'm going to take a sabbatical.
Yeah, well, technically unpaid leave. It was kind of funny hanging out with the guys at poker night the other night, and all the professors were like, "Oh, you're going on a sabbatical? That's fantastic! And how much are they paying you?" And I'm like, "Ha, ha! You professors are adorable.
They are adorable.
We don't get paid time off. This much paid time off."
No.
So technically, I'm taking the last 2 weeks of December as paid vacation. Well, we shut down.
So it's part of your...
So it's part of shutdown, but I'm taking 4 days vacation then. So like the second to last week of December. And then it's officially 2 months unpaid leave. And it's all of January, all of February. I have to be out. I cannot go into the office. I have to be out. And I start like the first day of the next month, basically. But if I decide to take a unpaid leave, I have to take the whole month off. So I can't like be like, oh, I want unpaid leave for 2 weeks.
Gotcha.
So I leave, so technically January 1st until February 28th or 27th, 29th. I don't know, is this a leap year? It's 28th, I think, right?
I think so.
So March 1st then, 2023.
Be back to reality.
Back to reality.
If you can swing it.
Back to life. Back to reality.
I think of all the things on this trip, that's my biggest fear. How in the world am I going to re-enter reality after 10 weeks of...
Yeah, it's going to be hard to go back to reality. Even my boss's boss was like, it's going to be hard to put your shoes on. It's like,
seriously?
Yeah. There's several people who think that I'm just not coming back at all, but that is not the case, because I will be coming back, because I have responsibilities.
There's a few of those still in
A
existence.
couple of those running around.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, they're driving on their own now, but still.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so, that takes us to why are we doing something like this? We are, and thinking about the boys, there's some reservations about, being away for 2 months. We are taking them for 2 weeks. I wanted them to come longer, but of course they can't be out of school that long. They don't want to be out of school that long. And also, it's a lot to do with them to take them all the way to Thailand too. So we chose to do the Guadeloupe part with them during their Christmas break. But why are we doing this? It's one of those things like I wanted to definitely talk about, thinking about how short life is, and I had some experiences young in life, seeing my father pass away, and that was impressionable, and thinking about the things that he always talked about wanting to do but never did, and that's kind of carried me through life, thinking about doing things rather than not doing things. So I wanted to do something like this, but then friends and people we know have been dropping left and right, different
Or just battling illness.
So again, another reason to do something like this is to do it before something bad happens, to do it before we have other responsibilities that absolutely prevent us from going and doing something like this, whether it be health or family or whatever.
Yeah, I have the luxury of 23 years of healthcare, mainly working in cardiology with, I hate to use the term geriatric, but that's what it is. People of retirement age or facing a health crisis, one or the other. And, my job allows me an hour in a room with these people, and, at the height of their fear or whatever reality it is that they're coming to. And it's amazing that in 23 years from people all over the spectrum of life, the number one piece of advice always comes back to don't wait. Don't wait. We wish we would have. We should have. Or, I get the ones that are like, thank God I did, because laying here in this bed isn't so scary right now. I'm very motivated by the gift of that lesson. I mean, to be in your early 20s and being told that is, if you're not listening and you're not hearing, that's a tragedy, because I don't know, these people, they've changed my life. So he's heard all the stories 1,000 times over. I get at least one or two a week that are pretty impactful, but sometimes more. And, this is for them. These are for the ones that did and the ones that didn't.
So for those of you who don't know, Jennifer is an cardiac ultrasound tech. She scans hearts, and she has 3 or 4 or 5, 6 patients a day, and they make her really appreciate life, because a lot of times they're either in bad health or at the end of their life, and she has 20-30 minutes with them that you chat with them, and
at least,
yeah, and you hear their life story.
Yeah, I'm curious, and it doesn't take long to convince them that I'm genuinely curious, and they just start spilling. And like I said, it's been one of the greatest gifts of my life, definitely the greatest gift of my career. That to be able to speak to that many people at that point in their lives is pretty special. But yeah, so that's the why.
Yes, another why of why we're doing this is also a test for ourselves to see if this is something we want to do later in life. We've talked about potentially moving onto a sailboat at some point later in life, and if we want to keep that dream alive and really be serious about it later, we thought we should try it now as well. This is a window of time that we have that we can do it. We tried to plan for the best time of the year to do it, with as little disruptions to family and friends and everybody else and work and all that. So this is also a test to see if the sailing and cruising life is for us. If we come away with this and it's something that we still love and still could see ourselves after 4 weeks of being on a boat, is it something we could see ourselves being on a boat permanently, living on a boat? Maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 years we may potentially do that. So we wanted to test ourselves a little bit longer than just a bareboat chartering for a week or a few days or a weekend. We thought, let's go big. Let's try it. So we were able to fortunately find a boat that wasn't insanely expensive.
And how'd you find the boat? I feel like that's
So
important.
yeah, so there's a website called SEAbbatical. It's sort of like an Airbnb. It's people who own boats, and you can charter their boats as if you were chartering through like the big ones, the Dream Yacht Charters, the Moorings, um, those kind of Sun Sail, and all the other ones that are out there. Those are the big ones, and there's lots of littler ones that are like at different
Price points and
basins, yeah, where they're located. But this one is like a worldwide. People own their own sailboats, but they want to charter them out or rent them out. So it's called SEAbbatical, and it's a great website, and it's like Airbnb. I mean, you've got to basically verify yourself. They have to verify themselves. Everything's handled as insurance that covers everything as well. So this is our first time using it, but I've been watching it for a long time, trying to pick boats here and there. But it seems pretty legit. It's there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people using it worldwide. So it looks pretty good. I've done all the background checks and feel pretty safe and secure with it. So we found a boat in Guadeloupe, and we reached out to the owner, and we've been in communication back and forth, and it's 3 payments. And yeah, fortunately, this is probably the least expensive one we found for that amount of time for 4 weeks. So we'll see how it goes. And it's a 38-foot Beneteau, relatively new. I think it's like 2016 or 17, which is a good age. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. We saw all the pictures inside and out. Looks gorgeous. Even has a bow thruster, which on a 38-foot boat seems kind of it's surprising. On a small boat, you have a bow thruster. I mean, not small by any means. 38 feet is a very large boat by most people's means. But in a sailboat cruising world, we'd like to be no smaller than 38 if we were to ever get our own boat. And of course, we'd like to get a catamaran, but they are just astronomically priced right now. Catamarans have just shot up like crazy the past few years. I would say it's a lot to do with a lot of YouTube channels that we all watch and follow, but also COVID, I think, changed everyone's perspective on work-life balance, and more people are finding that they can work remotely, so I think a lot of them have been decided to move on to boats, and the best boats to work and live on, if you're not actively sailing, I think, is a catamaran for the amount of space you got in there. I think a monohull, your traditional sailboats probably sail with a better motion, from what I've been hearing on all the podcasts I listen to and all the YouTube channels I listen to. But they also say most of the time you're at anchor when you're in the cruising lifestyle. So if you're going to be at anchor, a catamaran's the right way to go. So if you got a 38-foot catamaran, that's like 2 monohulls. So 38-foot would be fantastic. There's lots of lagoons that are 38-foot and Fontaine Pujots, and they're 39, 40 feet. But yeah, we just can't afford a catamaran. Even thinking about like the future, I think the prices are going to continue to go up, or at least stay high. You think they're going to come down?
I do. I think a lot of people bucket listed for COVID, and there's not a lot. I mean, obviously, you look at the amount of YouTube channels and things like that. Plenty of people can live on sailboats, but I do think it's a special type of person that can live comfortable in the uncomfortable for years upon years. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that gave it a shot, or just plan to do it for a couple of years, take their kids. COVID changed people's outlooks on life and what time means, and I think there's a lot of people that will either run the course of that experience, or they're just sick of a cold shower and feeling sticky from salt water after 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is.
Sand in all your nooks and crannies.
Absolutely. So I think though it's just like the RVs and all the other things that went berserk. I think things have to rebalance out.
I hope so. It'd be nice if the prices came down, but in the short term or medium term, I think if we decide to do this lifestyle in a few years, we're probably going to end up on a monohull.
That's okay. It's cheaper to get in the marina that way.
Cheaper to get in the marina, and it's less things that can break. The bigger the boat, the more things can break, and the more things you got to fix and maintain.
Exactly.
I keep hearing, go as big as you can be comfortable, or small as you can be comfortable, I guess. And we live a pretty
modest life.
minimal life,
Yeah.
I guess. I think we'd be comfortable on a monohull. And we like camping, so it's like glamping on water in a boat that's got a galley and heads and
All I need is a swim platform and a comfy bed.
a couple beds. Bring a hammock and we'll be good to go.
There you go.
But yeah, so this boat being a 38-foot, it has a bow thruster, which will be very nice because it's always tricky handling a monohull and trying to, parallel park it.
That'll be fun.
With a bow thruster, that makes things a lot easier if we have to get into any tight spots. But hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully we'll be at anchor most of the time, and when we do come into a marina, hopefully it'll be a straight shot. I wonder if they do Mediterranean mooring in the French island of Guadeloupe. If they're like Europe, they might. So that could get scary because I've never done Mediterranean mooring with a monohull. I've always been on catamarans most of the time, except for a few monohulls we've rented, and they've taken over the parking of it for us. So, yeah.
I have faith in you.
Yeah. I'll get lots of practice.
That's right.
Out in the open water.
There's nothing one of the oh shit fenders can't fix, right? I can run around the boat with a fender in my hand.
There you go. Yeah, so we covered the why and the what.
Maybe we should say who we are a little bit.
Oh, you probably should.
No.
Probably should have started with that.
Maybe.
Who are you?
Oh, my name's Jennifer.
Where do you come from?
I hail from the crazy state of Florida and the even crazier town of Daytona Beach. So I feel like some forgiveness should be sent my way just knowing those facts. But yeah, I have one child. She's 20, about to be 23 years old. I'm not sure how that happened. Zoe, she's a rock star. She's doing her thing, prepping for grad school. She's a great kid. And another of the whys we can do this, she's pretty self-sufficient and off the payroll for the most part, so that's helpful. I've spent the last, 18, 19 years in South Carolina. Brought Zoe up here when she was in second grade to Charleston. That's the town I learned to sail in. I took a friend up on an offer to jump on a racing team for funsies one day, not knowing a thing about sailing. So I learned trial by fire. Thank you, Andrew. You changed my life.
What boat did you sail on?
Peregrine.
Who was the captain?
I always say his last name wrong. Tim Venu? I don't know. Tim. The lovely Captain Tim. Who is probably one of the most patient human beings on the earth. He took so many newbies on that boat and
Great captain.
Yeah, he just coached us all through it, and that was my intro to sailing. And again,
side note, Captain Tim won first place at the last Charleston Sailing Regatta, and we were fortunate enough to partake in that.
We were. There's a video on YouTube if you'd like to see.
Yes, check us out on YouTube. You can find us at www.sailingpb.com.
We're there.
Yes, sailingpb.com, as in prima barcavella.
Yeah.
Or peanut butter.
Right.
Sailingpb.com, and then you can get to our videos there. There's a video of us on Captain Tim's boat winning first place.
There it is.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So from Charleston, my daughter went to college in the upstate of South Carolina, where I ran into this handsome fella.
Clemson
University. Go Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. Now I live in the upstate, up here doing lake life for the first time, away from the ocean in my entire life. So I'm definitely excited to get back to the sea for our SEAbbatical.
So my name is Francesco, and I hail from a town in Ohio originally, near Youngstown. The suburb is Boardman. And I came to South Carolina in 2000 and started working here. Yeah, I have two wonderful boys. They are with me half time, and they're with my ex-wife the other half the time. And that's how we're able to do this SEAbbatical also. Really, really grateful that we're able to do this, and the boys will be with her while we're gone. And yeah, so they're senior and sophomore.
And it should be said that our kids are incredibly supportive of this adventure. All
Yep.
of them are on board and, cheering for us on this too.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So yeah, awesome boys. Raised them here in South Carolina, and we yeah. So now we're together here in the upstate, and we're gonna be taking off for SEAbbatical. We try to do a little bit of sailing here and there. We have a small 25.5 Hunter.
Don't forget that .5.
That .5 means a lot. It's a fun little boat. We have a really good time with that sailboat. It's crazy how nice a little boat is that we bought for nothing. Some older gentleman in Lake Lanier bought it thinking he could day sail it and drive it back and forth to the lake, but then he realized after once or twice that was really, really hard to do, so he just wanted to get rid of it. And we bought it for practically nothing. And it's a beautiful boat that was well taken care of. It technically could sleep 6, but that would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it has a cabin in the front, in the peak, yeah, and then a cabin in the stern, and then the table converts down into a bed, and it's got a little couch next to that. It's got a little galley with a 2-burner alcohol stove. It's got 2 sinks technically, but we barely ever use them. Never use them. It's got a little porta potty in there.
Yeah. It's our fort on the water. We live on Lake Hartwell in the upstate of South Carolina, and it's a beautiful lake with about 1,000 miles of shoreline. So we can tuck into little coves, and most of it's undeveloped because of Clemson University. They have so much experimental forest land up here, so there's so many spots you can just privately tuck up in and stay for the night and sail around. I mean, it's lake sailing, it's fluky, but we certainly have fun with it.
Yeah. So that's what are we talking about? Guadeloupe? What are we going to do when we're in Guadeloupe? Where are we sailing to? We're going to go into...
You're more on the itinerary side of things. I'm more on the how am I provisioning and what adventures are we doing?
So we're starting out of PTP, Pointe de Pitre. I can never say it right. I'm going to butcher all these names, sorry. And
French is hard.
We come out of that marina there, which is the main city, I guess, main big town there in Guadeloupe. And I think it's one of the largest populated islands in the Caribbean. We come out of that marina. We're going to go down to Maria Galante, which is a large island south of Guadeloupe proper. And we're going to spend a few days there. And then we're going to go from there. So that's south. Then we're going to head west to the Saints. They call it the Saints. Mm-hmm. Les Santes, I guess. I don't know. There's a couple of islands there that everybody raves about. We've seen a few YouTube videos about it. It looks pretty awesome. Spend a few more days there. Probably spending longer time there than elsewhere. And then eventually we'll sail back up to PTP for the boys to fly home. And then from there we're going to just see where the wind blows us. We'd like to go then south again and around Basse Terre, I think is that. Mm-hmm. So Guadeloupe looks like a butterfly if you look at it on the map. And so the west butterfly wing, we want to get around there and go to where Jacques Cousteau has an underwater preserve, a park. And then up to, I think it's called Deshaines, Deshhaines maybe. I'm really butchering that name, I'm sure. But that appears to be like a very popular spot with cruisers to go to, sailboat cruisers. So yeah, I want to check that out. It'd be nice if we could circumnavigate, but I doubt the winds will be favorable for that, so we might come back down around to the south. And I wanted to go all the way to the east. There's a couple of little islands over there, and also some mainland towns to check out. They have some really wonderful like fresh markets and other things like that. And yeah, anyway, looks like a lot of lovely beaches, a lot of lovely Caribbean exploration.
Yeah, we have a general plan, but as we all know, Mother Nature's in charge of the whole process. So where the winds blow us is where we end up, and no matter what, it'll be an adventure and it'll be fun.
And we hope to podcast while we're there, so check back in with us and we'll tell you all about it. We'll tell you the highs and the lows and goods and bads of it all.
Yeah, I'm going to be blogging about this too. We're going to keep you updated on the expenses. We've got a estimate of our budget to begin with. I'm going to keep track of what we spend on a daily basis. We'll sort of keep you posted on how we've done this, how we're able to afford it, pointers that we learn along the way. So keep up with us, and hopefully we'll have quite a bit to share. We want to inspire other people in the middle of their lives to take a break. I think what I've learned waiting until retirement can work, but it can often not. So if you find a window of space in your life and you've made the right things have worked out along the way, I think most importantly, we are fortunate. I want to say that. I think we're very lucky in our lives, but we've also made good decisions. But I also think that you can do this on just about any budget. I think if you really plan, there's ways to travel. There's ways to do these adventures.
Yeah, if you can't afford the chartering of the sailboat, you can definitely jump on as crew. There's plenty of websites. Facebook has groups. There's Crew Finder, which is what we use to actually find a captain who's going to take us cruising around Thailand. So we're going to check that out, possibly. Or we might jump on with a friend's boat. There's a chance that we've got a friend there that will be sailing around, and we'll jump on with his boat. In which case, again, being crew, you just share the costs of the daily expenses. So you could do it on a much lower budget. We've been saving for this for a while and kind of, sacrificing things here and there in life so that we can do something like this. So we decided to go big so that we could truly experience, ourselves chartering a boat, but being the skipper and crew, and then also doing it with somebody else.
Gosh, but you say big, but you compare it to some of these all-inclusive vacations and things like that, it's not that much bigger. It's in the ballpark. So it just depends on what your style of travel is. But we're excited to share. We hope you guys will follow along. We've got the website. We've got a YouTube page. We're going to podcast a bit.
We'll put all this in the show notes so you can link to it.
Yeah.
But the easiest way to find us is to start with www.sailingpb.com, like Prima Barcavella, which is, we call it Prima Barcavella, we should explain that. So our first sailboat is named Prima Barcavella, and Prima Barcavella in Italian means first sailboat. My family comes from Italy, so it was kind of a fun thing to do, is call it Prima Barcavella. Jennifer's last name is Italian. Her grandfather was Italian, so both of my parents were 100% Italian, making me 100% Italian. She's a mix, but there's some Italian in there, and then we did 23andMe and discovered there's some German in there.
Who knew?
Didn't expect that. Jokingly, I did 23andMe and discovered that I was Italian.
Shocking.
Shocking. I did think there was going to be some Greek in there, and there was zero Greek in there. And being that my family's from southern Italy, you would have think the Greeks would have came over and dominated and maybe went through and spread their seed.
I don't know. I still say we take it all with a grain of salt. I am 99% unlikely to be a redhead per 23andMe, so there's that.
True. So, yeah, very interesting. But, that's about Guadeloupe, I guess. We'll definitely be podcasting about that and showing videos and everything. So check us out, follow us there, and click like and click reviews and all that good stuff that they always tell you to do on the podcasts and the YouTubes.
We'd love any pointers, any places you've been, any things you think we should do, any anchorages, mooring balls, secrets, all the things. Let us know. Share
advice. Yeah, definitely. And we'll share advice as well. That would be great if you reached out to us.
I love the sailing community for that.
Yeah, they're wonderful. So then on to Thailand. We come back for 24 hours, I think. We fly back into the upstate of South Carolina. And we will be spending, I think, one night with a friend, seeing the boys and Jennifer's daughter, and then we'll fly back out to Bangkok, where we'll stay with a buddy of mine who's been living there for 8 years, and been asking me for all those years to come visit him, and never had the chance. But that takes us back to the beginning of this podcast as to why we decided to do all this. We originally were going to go for 2 weeks, and we kind of expanded a bit more, and now we're so lucky and fortunate to be able to go for 6 weeks. So our plan is to spend a week and a half with him and his lovely companion, Anya. And then we're going to try to get up into Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai and do some inland travel. We hope to stay at a rice farm, stay with a family who will teach us how to cook Thai food. And
see some elephants.
Just explore. And yeah, we're going to go to the elephant sanctuary, not to the elephant places that abuse the elephants. We're going to go support the charities that support taking good care of the elephants and rescuing them. Yeah, we hope to explore by scooter. And then after those weeks that we spend exploring inland, we're planning on jumping on another sailboat. And I think it's a 38-foot sailboat. And we're going to sail from Phuket to Malaysia and back, is my understanding. But there's like 5 itineraries that our captain is talking about taking us to, our friend, Captain Friend. And yeah, we're going to sail all around those islands that you see on all the pretty pictures. We might go to Phi Phi, which is where the movie The Beach was shot, but not sure about that with how touristy it's become. Even though it's become ultra touristy, we still saw a video the other day that looked pretty awesome. Might still be definitely worth it to go. So if you've been there recently and you think it's worth still going, please let us know. We would love to know that is still a place worth going, even if it's touristy. I've heard if you can get there early before the crowds, it's the best time to go. So any advice or tips about that would be really awesome. We'd really appreciate if you sent us that. And any tips in general or islands that you may have gone to around Thailand that you highly recommend. We'd love to hear about that as well. So yeah, we're right at 30 minutes. I guess probably should cut this off for our first podcast.
Sure.
Also, let us know if you'd like to hear from us longer or shorter. What kind of podcast would you like to hear? Long form podcasts like Joe Rogan, 1.5 hours, 3 hours podcasts, half hour, 45 minutes. What's a good sweet spot? 15 minutes? Let us know.
Take care, guys.
Take care. We love you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Arrivederci.